Alrighty, guys, this is Casey with the Compass Circle, and guess what? I'm being consistent, and I'm back with another video. So I want to remind you guys that today's the 18th of January, but on the 25th, I'm going to be holding my Atlanta Masterclass. It's going to be a trucking and contracting class. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be from the hours of 12 to 6. Now, due to an overwhelming response and popular demand, I was only anticipating about 20 people, but so far about 58 people are coming. So instead of me booking a larger room, I'm just going to hold 2 classes. One class is going to be like 12 to like 2, 3 o'clock, and then the other class will be about 3:30 to 6, give or take a few hours. They're going to be 2-hour segments. The class was going to be a 2-hour segment anyways. I was just going to start at 2:30. Allot time for questions, and I'm going to still do the same. I just have to make the day longer to accommodate more people. At any rate, I'm the one that has to do more talking, and I have to run 2 classes back to back, so I'm the only one affected. Other than that, though, I just want to come and check in on you guys. I want to really be consistent. I want to really just maintain the audience that I have. I tend to not really focus so much on YouTube because my larger audience is on Instagram. But when you start building your, followers and subscribers and your email list, one thing kind of just feeds the other, so you got to keep it going, right? But I want to share something with you guys. So every day I do consultations, right? Initially, I used to only do 2 a day, but I've been expanding so fast that I've had to literally do about 5 a day. So I don't know what I'm going to do after this, but, I'm going to figure it out. But I want to talk about something because there's a common theme that I'm finding when I'm talking to you guys. And what I'm noticing is there's a lot of fear, right? I talked to a really good friend of mine today. She has some fear issues. I talked to a person I had a consultation with. He has some fear issues. And I'm like, why are we so afraid? Initially when we started to do something, we think of a million things that could go wrong. So I'm a contractor, of course. I help people with business development and getting government certifications. So for me, when I started, I was deathly afraid because I had to basically learn how to communicate with the government and speak a different language that I did not know how to do, right? I didn't have anybody to show me. I didn't even have anybody to show up and say, hey, you can do this. I was just going after some enigma that I heard about, and I was just crazy enough to try it, and it worked out. However, you guys have me. You have, availability to me. I make myself available. I have a mentorship program. I do personal coaching. I do classes. I do all kinds of things. I even do free classes, periodically for people who can't afford it. So I was on the phone today with this guy, and I'm giving him the game, right? I'm even in my head like, why are you even giving this guy this much information? You normally don't do this. However, first of all, he was very slow to grasp the information, right? So that was like a thing. But once his mind really unlocked and he got what I was saying, he was like, oh, okay, I get it. However, he still had fear. So even though I've kind of mastered the art of being afraid, you kind of just got to say, fuck it. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? Worst case scenario is you'll be in the same state you were in, or, whatever. But it's like when I was talking to him, and this happens all the time, I talk to people, either their belief does not stretch far enough. I can't help if your mind can't stretch to a multi-million-dollar contract. That's not my problem. I can't, work your belief for you. You have to work your belief for yourself. But it's so funny because I am literally your roadmap to this. I'm going to tell you what to do and what not to do. I didn't have that. So I don't understand how anybody is afraid and you have me on your team. That's number one. But at the same time, it's like we have to really master this fear. We have to really stop leading with fear. So he was like, yeah, you're right. I am afraid. You're right. And then I was like, no, you're not going to be afraid. Buck up. I'm with you. And he was like, yeah, you're right. So I think a lot of times, and even for me, talking about and doing this video right now, I started off, to coach people, to make extra money, to travel, to do classes and what have you. And of course, I have real life information. Of course, I can get you certified. Of course, I can help you in all kinds of things like that. But when I really start getting into the soul work of this, it's really just to pat you guys on the back and really just to give you encouragement and really just to be an example and to say, you guys can do this. There's really not much information that, I give that you can't get anywhere else. Well, yes, there is. But anything that you pretty much hear about, you're walking around with a phone in your hand all day. So if you're really serious about anything, you can just Google it, right? So that tells me that people are just, I'm either relatable or people are just, into the package, or maybe both. I understand that. So if I was going after something and there was a young lady that looked like me and talked like me and walked like me and I could relate to, sure, would I go to her to get the information? Would I go to her to get the, ins and outs and the dirty little secrets that nobody's going to tell me about? Absolutely. However, if I'm standing there taking my time to coach you, taking my time to talk to you and give you knowledge that you've never had, I don't want you to fight me and be fearful. I understand it's new territory. I really do. I get that. Was I afraid when I started? Yeah, but I didn't have anybody telling me I could do it, and I didn't have anybody telling me what to do. So I just think we need to be more mindful about, what we tell ourselves, how we tell ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. I'm telling this guy, all these great things we can do and how we can build it. And he's like, yeah, but this. And I'm like, why are you telling me what you don't have? I'm giving you 13 things that you do have, and you're telling me about 2 things that happen that are going to hinder you. Like, why are we leading with the negative? I don't think we understand that we're being programmed. We've been programmed since birth to be fearful subconsciously. These are thoughts that you don't even know you're thinking. Inferiority complexes, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough. I made most of my money when my company was leaning on one leg, but my presentation said otherwise. So I let my presentation do the talking for me, and then I showed up to get the work done. A lot of times, all you guys need is a chance, but you cannot lead with fear. You can't let that fear talk to you. That fear will stifle you. Again, I'm talking to this guy today, and he's like, well, I'm just going to wait until, later in 2020 when this or that. And I'm like, wait for what? It's never going to be the perfect time. It's like having a baby. You're never going to be ready for a baby. You can never really plan for a baby. You can plan all you want, but nothing's going to teach you to be a parent like being a parent. So I just wanted to come on and do a quick little video. I've had a really long day, you guys. But the longer I go with this and the more deeper I go into it, I'm really starting to just feel a change in, it's really a ministry. It's really a ministry to encourage people, to bring awareness, to educate people. But more than anything, it's just to be an example and to tell you that if I've done it, you can. So I expect anybody that's under the sound of my voice or, following me or dealing with me personally to go faster and farther than me, because you guys, seriously, I did not have anybody to help me with any of this stuff, like none of it. So, this is just a quick little video. I normally get into more facts and events and kind of stuff like that, but I just felt kind of led to come up here. It doesn't matter where you are in your process. You have to start. And once you start, you cannot stop. Once you make the conviction that, yes, this is what I'm going to do, it doesn't matter what happens on Monday. It doesn't matter what happens on Tuesday. It doesn't matter what happens on Friday or Sunday either. If that's your conviction, that's what's going to happen, and that's what you're going to do, and that's it, and that's all. It might not happen that week. It might not happen that day. It might not happen that month. It might not happen that year. But if you purpose it in your heart, guess what? It's going to come to fruition. So for 2020, I just want us to keep a theme of we're only focusing on desired results and outcomes. Outside of that, I don't want to hear what you guys don't have. I don't want to hear, where you fell off or what you used to have or why you can't do it or you don't have enough money. I don't want to hear any of that. If I can take one truck and scale it up into a $5.5 million pipeline, if I can take one truck and almost get awarded almost $6 million worth of contracts in 2 years, not knowing anything about contracting, you guys can certainly do it too. There's tons of avenues, whether it's local, state, colleges, universities, private sector, public sector, global sector, and otherwise, or federal contracting. It's all about your belief. The world is literally at your fingertips. Literally, all of us are walking around with mobile computers on our fingertips. Our grandparents didn't have that, and yet they still managed to take care of 15, 10, 12 people. So just imagine if your grandparents, with the drive that they had the technology that you had, okay? So stop whining, stop complaining, schedule your consultations, get the information, get in the mentorship program, and turn up. It's 2020. It's no more time for excuses. It's no more time for why we can't, why we haven't, why we won't, what we don't know. Information is one of the most prevalent things around here. You guys go to colleges and universities and take classes that don't give you half the information that I do. But yet you guys still go sign up and spend thousands of dollars and end up with college loans that you can't pay off for years and years because you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job that doesn't, afford you any upward mobility. It doesn't make sense. So again, just get into your belief. You might not know how you're going to make it. You might can't see past the next step, but just put one foot in front of the other. And with that said, you guys, I'm Casey with the Compass Circle, and I'll see you on the next video.